ninjas, this is Strident, and I'm back with another review. This time it is kind of a surprise to me. I was walking around Toys R Us while doing some Christmas shopping, and I see SH Figuarts. I'm like, I have to get it, and it was for half the price I would have paid for, you know, one of these things online. But anyway, SH Figuarts Shinken Reddo, Takeru Shiba, for those of you who don't know. I've only seen a couple episodes of Shinkenger, and I've watched maybe half of one or part of one, or, you know, two of the Power Ranger Samurai. So I'm kind of, you know, getting up to date with these. So I'm gonna judge this figure, review this figure, strictly based on the figure by itself. Now, it's an SH Figuarts. For me, I'm only used to the Kamen Rider figures because those are ones that appeal to me from a design standpoint, and then the way that they work in all of the articulation, just it's mind-numbing for me. So I wasn't really expecting that much from this figure. I love Sentai, of course, but, you know, I love Tokusatsu in general, but this wasn't one of the ones that I was really looking forward to. But when I saw it and I opened him up after I got him, I was like, damn, he's actually pretty cool. So yeah, he's going on my little shelf next to my other Japanese themed figures, or Japanese inspired figures, as you can see there. Pretty much this is your own Takeru Shiba. It's a miniature version, and he can do everything just about that the guy in the show does. I was expecting a little more detail, strangely enough, but I mean, they're wearing tights in the show, so you really can't expect too much, you know. They put wrinkles on the boots and some wrinkles on the gloves, and that's all you really need, you know. It really looks good. Now, as far as accessories, as you can see, this guy comes with a shitload of accessories, as do many of the SH Figuarts. I really dig that Zambato that he has. That thing is amazing. But I'll get to that. First off, you have the Shoto phone in brush mode, and I think that's really cool that they did that. I was surprised that it actually was an accessory that was to scale with the character, which shouldn't surprise me because this is SH Figuarts and this is what they do. The little crest slash origami is really well done. There's a lot of detail on it, especially on the other side. But when it's in the origami, you know, mode, the lion mode, there's articulation on it. Those front legs that you see right there, they actually move. I was like, damn, okay. I see I smell what you're cooking, Bandai. But see, this is one of those things where when I was reviewing the Thundercats toys, I was complaining because, I mean, you know, where was that when making those figures? Shinken Maru. You can't have a Shinkenger and not have the trusty Shinken Maru. And this thing's perfect. Slides into the little sheath perfectly. Not much to ask for. He can hold it well. And the Zambato is just the shit. The fact that this figure can actually hold that thing without any support, it's amazing. It's like the perfect weight. So props to Bandai for that. The only thing that would have been nice, or nicer, is if the little discs could be swapped out, just like in the show. But I mean, they'd probably just fall off. So it's kind of nice that it's like this. I had a ton of fun posing him and trying to get those cool poses, you know, with making him look like the sword he's about to, you know, go guts hawk on somebody. But this figure's nice. Now, the posability for the most part is very similar to the other SH Figuarts figures. I found some poses that I could do with Fies that I couldn't do with him, but I'm gonna get to those later. But paint is extremely well done. There's not too much to ask for in terms of paint. I didn't have any slop. The paint even looks really nice under, you know, different types of lighting. And I was like, you know, sometimes you can see that they were sloppy when you put a figure under fluorescent light versus like LED lights, you know. And not in this case. Everything looked, you know, pretty damn nice. I was surprised. There's even subtle hints of muscle sculpted in there. And it's like, you know, as opposed to the American versions of the Power Ranger figures where they're all like super buff and whatnot, you've got this dude who looks like the body type that you see in the show. Now, on his joints, there are a couple things that they're kind of like, why did they do it that way? For instance, the shoulder joint. That shoulder joint is kind of, it's noticeable. It's really noticeable. But it works fairly well. But anyway, back to the sword. It's awesome. Same thing with the shoulder phone. As small as it is, the extra pair of hands that he comes with, specifically for him to hold the shoulder phone, allow him to hold it. And he does it perfectly. You can't really ask for anything more. The sword hands. He comes with pretty much 2 pairs of sword hands and then an extra sword hand just so he can hold it out the way he's holding it right now. And I mean, when you're playing with him, if you're moving him around and stuff, you notice that sometimes he'll drop the sword, but you know, for the most part he holds it perfectly. As far as the Zambato goes, there's 2 specific hands for that. And you see all the poses that you'll see in this video there's no extra support. Nothing is holding the sword up. It's 100% the toy holding the sword up on its own. It was kind of weird because I was expecting to have all kinds of trouble, and I did not have any trouble with him. So I was really happy about that. His joints up in the shoulders, they click a little bit, but they hold poses really well, which is super freaking nice because you know how many Marvel Legends toys don't really hold poses really well, but they have clicking joints. I dig it. You know, for those of you who don't dig it, get over it. It's a good thing. It helps you pose your figures a lot better, and it helps them hold the pose so over time you don't lose posability and your figures don't become slack. But like this pose right here, nothing is supporting him. He is 100% holding that thing on his own. And I was just amazed that he could do that. My brother had a Guts Hawk figure, and he couldn't really hold his own sword. I mean, there were aspects of it that I think were die cast, and his body would just crumble underneath the weight of that blade. And that sword was long, but it wasn't as big as this. What is it? Play Arts Cloud from Advent Children. He can hold his sword up, but he doesn't hold it up perfectly. There's still issues with how he holds it up, and that always bothered me. And here you go. Bandai showing you how it's done. And, you know, this is one of those things I got to give props to SH Figuarts as a line in general. Their engineering is actually pretty damn good all across the board. There's not too much for me to ask for, you know, as a fan of Tokusatsu and as a fan of this line. The only thing I could ask for is them to drop the price, you know? Now, he pretty much assumes most poses really well. There's nothing for you to, you know, want there. I had no problem putting him in these poses. On the back of the box, they had some cool ones, and I tried to imitate those poses. And I was actually, you know, pleasantly surprised that he was able to actually take them with no problem. I think you guys will be surprised, too. I don't know. There's not too much else to say about, you know, his posability, his paint, his articulation. There are areas of the articulation that I like, and there are areas that I don't like. I'm going to go into detail about some of those parts that I don't like. For one, there's some stress being put on his body that you can see right in his shoulder. You can see that the whole torso joint is kind of opening up a little bit, which sucks, you know, because I really just opened him up and started taking pictures. So something in there is pushing against something that it shouldn't, but I'm not going to play with him enough for anything to happen. He's just going to be posed in different ways on different shelves in my studio. Now, holding the sword two-handed. Now, the handle is big enough to do that, and that's something I think all of the swordsmen should do, and it sucked because before Leo from Lost Galaxy and the Magna Defender, they couldn't do it. But he can do it, which looks good. and here he is posed next to Fies. You can clearly see there's a difference. The Kamen Rider figures go for the more armored look, whereas these Sentai figures don't. They're more of a costume, spandex clad costume deal. There are no, as far as I could tell, there are no die-cast parts on Shinken Red. Shinken Red's hands, in comparison to Fies holds weapons better. I don't know what it is about the plastic they used or the rubber. I have no idea what it is, but it actually, his hands work better. You can kind of see that the poses are a little more natural with Fies. With Shinken Red, there's just a little bit of difficulty because of joints that he's missing that Fies have, or has. They achieve some of those same articulation. You can see that even the NECA Leo has the similar articulation to Fies, where you have the ball socket at the shoulder, then you have a swivel, whereas the Shinken Red, it's like a swivel and socket all at the same time. So some of these poses that these guys can achieve easily, it takes a lot of work to get Shinken Red to get the pose. And when I say a lot of work, I don't mean you're going to be spending an hour. I'm just saying you got to carefully twist and turn things to get him to do what you want him to do, because you don't want to put too much pressure, because one thing that I fear just looking at the figure is that he's so frail that something will break. Now you can see that Leo's shoulders are cut so that his arms can come together close enough to hold that thing with no resistance, which is awesome because you don't want him to break getting into a pose that no other Leonardo figure could do. Fies, his shoulders stick out far enough that it's easy to put him holding something with two hands. You don't really have to struggle, you don't have to force anything, it works with no problem. And I dig that a lot. Now with Shinken Red, even with those weird shoulder joints, since he doesn't actually have a shoulder per se, there's just a joint there and there's a big gap, you kind of have to really move those shoulder joints properly to get him to do what he's doing right there. Now here's a little picture where you can see what I'm talking about. He is devoid of an actual shoulder. Instead, you have an inner pectoral / shoulder, and then you have the arm, and there's a socket in there, like a disc piece in there. If you twist too hard, it ratchets out. Here are the feet. You can see they're done differently. Ball sockets for the Shinkenger, and an actual swivel joint for the Kamen Rider, and it's actually metal on Fies. Here's another view of it, so you can see closely that there is a difference in how they achieve that that articulation. I kind of wish on Fies they did it with a ball socket joint, because then you wouldn't have to worry about the die cast chipping or breaking or something like that. Here's another view of that shoulder. You can see that there are like 2 ball sockets for Fies, whereas for Shinken Red, it's that weird, almost Marvel Legends like swivel joint, gap, then your bicep, tricep, and the rest of the arm. But all in all, this is a very solid figure for, I think this is the first Sentai deviation from Kamen Rider that SH Figuarts have done. And I've seen them do other figures as well, but it's pretty nice stuff. I dig the articulation on this figure, and I mean, as that's the point. That's what many of you are, or many of us in general, that's what we collect SH Figuarts for. He looks perfect amongst your other Sentai characters. He actually looks more realistic than the others do. His proportions are nice. Comes with enough gear. There's really nothing else to really, ask for. So, as you can see, here he is with my other Red Rangers, because I don't know where the first Red Ranger is. Jason is missing in action or something, I don't know. But these were my favorites next to SPD, which I completely missed out on those toys. But I think if you see him, pick him up. I think I paid about $34 for this figure, which is not bad considering it is an SH Figuarts. But it's a solid release from SH Figuarts. Hopefully some of those things that I pointed out that were not as strong will be changed down the road with some of the other ones. Hopefully they'll go back and they'll do some older Sentai, characters, because I would love the Biomen and I would love Die Ranger, because that completely, I missed out on all of that, but those toys look like shit for real. So it would be nice to have an SH Figuarts Die Ranger. It'd be awesome. Kiba Ranger, what? So anyway, you guys need to pick this up if you see it. It's worth it. If you're not really a big fan of the Rangers or Sentai, then of course you're going to ignore this, because no matter what I tell you, if you don't like that stuff, it's not really going to appeal to you. But if you do, which I know a couple of you on here, you do know about Tokusatsu and you do like Sentai, pick this up. You might enjoy it. They also have a Shinken Gold as well, and I think the others are like Tamashi Web exclusives, which is kind of stupid because those things always sell out within like the first day, which is fucking ridiculous, because you can't, how do you get a hold of that stuff, But anyway, as far as this figure goes, it's a win. I give him a definite, must buy if you are a fan. If not, and you just like good figures, pick this figure up. It's totally worth it. I am Strident. I will be back with another review shortly. I hope you guys are all prepared and ready for the holidays, and I hope everything's going awesome. And, be safe, and I will talk to you guys later. Peace outside.